silence so the...
Hear ye, hear ye. Let the 5th grade Colonial Chapel begin. And now please join me in the flag salute to our colonial flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Huzzah! Huzzah! Huzzah!
I didn't hear her.
Good day, everyone. General Washington's wife and mistress of his plantation at Mount Vernon. General Washington was the first president, you know. You have just celebrated my husband's birthday with a holiday you like to call President's Day. My beloved George would have been 366 years old this year. The period before July 4th, 1776, when men like John Hancock and Thomas Jefferson signed our Declaration of Independence, is called the colonial period. It lasted from the founding of Jamestown in 1607 until the end of the American Revolutionary War in 1781.
Life in colonial America was very different from life today. At the time of the American Revolution, there were 13 British colonies. That's why our flag still has 13 stripes. The colonies stretched along the Atlantic seacoast, from New Hampshire to Georgia, all the We are going to tell you a little bit about the life in these colonies, especially in Virginia around the time of Williamsburg.
Music and dance were very important to the 18th century colonists in America, especially the middle and southern colonies. In Williamsburg, Virginia in particular, traveling musicians and dance masters taught the children of gentry and upper middling class, and knowing the proper deportment, foreign manners, and dance steps were considered essential to being a well-bred young lady or gentleman. Balls and private parties in homes of the wealthy were common in the time of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, and were enjoyed by everyone. Middling or middle-class Virginians were also often instructed in the dance and attended balls held at the taverns or governor's mansion. Our 16 colony ladies and gentlemen will dance a popular 18th century Catalan dance called La Royale. As you'll see, it is very similar to our current square dancing and involves 8 couples quickly moving through a series of figures and changes. The dancers will be accompanied on the flute by Mr. Whiting.
every kind were an everyday part of life in colonial Virginia. Music teachers, amateurs, sometimes indentured servants and slaves, along with the occasional traveling professional musicians, provided musical entertainment of every kind. Instruments included spinets, flutes, guitar. Violins, cellos, fifes, French horns, harpsichords, organs, harmonicas, in the 18th century style piano called pianofortes. Recorders and song flutes were also very popular.
Our class will perform 2 pieces under the direction of our resident music teacher, Mr. Charles. The first is Ode to Joy. This piece was a part of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Although it was actually completed between 1817 and 1823, Beethoven had been working on it and planning it since 1773, so we included it in our colonial concert. The second is an early American folk tune called Michael Rode the Boat Ashore.
Another entertainment in colonial America was a game called races. Using sticks and decorated hoops, young ladies and gentlemen would try to throw and catch the hoop as gracefully as possible. It takes a lot of coordination. This set of hoops and sticks came from Mount Vernon, the home of George Washington.
At this time, we thank the elementary for participating. And when the elementary leaves, 5th grade parents, please move up and be comfortable.
That was too subtle.
Hotel. First of all, where are Barry and Wendy? Barry and Wendy, please stand up! Thank you. Class coordinators, this is the busiest time of year, and I thank you for hanging in there with us with all the details and the emails and the double checking and checking with the hot plates and everything that went into this year. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank Adrienne. Where's Adrienne? Adrienne, would you stand up? Many mornings and afternoons and helped us get ready for the storytelling and helped us with a few tips on being very confident on stage, so thank you for your time. Okay, if you were a chaperone at Riley's Farm, or if you're going to be a chaperone next week at the Printing Museum, would you please stand up? This is called the court.
George Washington wrote a letter to his nephew telling young people how to act. The letter was published, became a famous book, and is still in print today.
We will show you 3 simple rules from George's book. Rule 24. Do not laugh too loud or too much at any public spectacle. Meaning it's perfectly acceptable to laugh freely in private and at public as long as it is not at the expense of others.
Rule 16. Do not puff up the cheeks, blow not out the tongue with the hands or beard, thrust not out the lips or bite them, or keep the lips too open or too closed. This basically means do not make funny faces.
Rule 90. Being set at meat, scratch not, neither spit, cough nor blow your nose, except when there is a necessity for it. Meaning good table manners should be in second nature rather than a rule of behavior.
I'd like to put now my best foot forward.
For the ladies, let us show you how to properly courtesy.
Good morning, my name is Thomas Jefferson. Williamsburg society in the 18th century was divided into several classes. The wealthiest landowning class was called the gentry. Like me, all the signers of the Declaration of Independence were from the gentry class. I live on a beautiful plantation called Monticello. I went to the College of William and Mary to study to be a lawyer. I also wrote most of the Declaration of Independence, which talks about freedom and equality for all men. Like nearly all Virginia landowners, I do have slaves on my plantation, and that is a moral problem for me.
The midday class consisted of tradespeople and merchants. In colonial Williamsburg, many business owners were actually women. Good morning. I am Anthony Hay, a middling, a cabinet maker, and a tavern owner. In colonial times, the tavern was a combination motel, restaurant, and bar. Gentlemen went there to smoke pipe, drink beer, and read newspapers, discuss politics, and more politics. My tavern, the Relay Tavern, was known as one of the finest taverns in America. At one time, the members of the House of Burgesses met in there to plan the revolution.
Another important group in the new colonies was made up of apprentices and indentured servants. These were people who worked for a master and were trained in a skill or craft.
In colonial America, most children began working by the age of 3, pulling weeds, picking worms or insects off plants, running errands, planting seeds, knitting, or gathering firewood. Colonial boys and even some girls were apprenticed to a craftsman to learn a trade by the age of 10. So another important group in the colonies was made up of apprentices and indentured servants. Apprentices became master craftsmen, such as coopers, making barrels, carpenters, or silversmiths, and then were part of the middling class. Indentured servants could also learn trades or could learn farming and own land after they paid off their indenture.
50% of Williamsburg was black at the time of the American Revolution. Some of these men and women were free blacks who owned land and businesses. Some were master craftsmen, many were slaves, either in the households or plantations. And their lives were very different from those that we have described. We celebrate their tradition each year as a part of Black History Month.
And now we would like to present storytellers and a brief introduction to put their stories into context.
Introduction to African American Storytelling. The following is quoted directly from the introduction to the book, The People Could Fly, American Black Folktales told by Virginia Hamilton. Folktales take us back to the very beginnings of people's lives, to their hopes and their dreams. American Black folktales originated with peoples, most of whom long ago were brought from Africa to this country against their will. These peoples were torn from their individual cultures as they left the past, their families and their social groups, and their languages and customs behind.
The black peoples coming to America before the end of the Civil War entered as slaves, and they were separated and isolated by laws because of their race. The African in them was forcibly suppressed by the white slave owners. They were not supposed to speak their own languages. The slave owners made them speak American English, but forbade them to learn, to read, or to write it. They were compelled to do hard labor and exhorted never to run away. Alone and helpless, the slaves lived under conditions as brutal as any group of people has ever endured.
It is amazing that the former Africans could ever smile and laugh, let alone make up riddles and songs and jokes and tell tales. As slaves, they were forced to live without citizenship, without rights as property, like horses and cows, belonging to someone else. But no amount of hard labor and suffering could suppress their powers of imagination.
Out of the contacts that plantation slaves made in their new world, combined with memories and habits from the old world of Africa, came a body of folk expression about the slaves and their experiences. The slaves created tales in which various animals, such as the rabbit, fox, bear, wolf, turtle, or terrapin, snake, and possum took on the characteristics of people found in the new environment of the plantation. Remember that these folktales were once a creative way for unoppressed people to express their fears and hopes to one another.
Remember also that these tales, like all folk tales, belong to all of us. They are part of our American tradition and part of the history of our country. These tales were created out of sorrow, but the hearts and minds of black people who formed them, expanded them, and passed them on to us were filled with love and hope. We must look on the tales as a celebration of the human spirit. Remember the voices from the past, as do the folk tales. Keep close all of the past that was good and the remains of full promise.
The Red and Blue Coat, a tale from Central Africa. There were once two childhood friends, Adam and Goat, who were determined to remain close companions always. When they were grown, they each married and built their houses facing one another. Just a small path formed a border between their two farms. One day, a trickster from the village decided to test their friendship. He dressed himself in a two-colored coat that was divided down the middle. Blue on the left side and red on the right. Wearing this coat, the man walked along the narrow path between the two houses. The two friends were each working opposite each other in the fields. The trickster made enough noise as he traveled between them to cause each friend to look up at the same moment and notice him. At the end of the day, one friend said to the other,
Wasn't that a beautiful red coat that man was wearing earlier today?
Sorry, but no, it was blue.
I'm sorry, I know what I saw. As you walked clearly between us, his coat was red.
Sorry, but you are wrong. I saw it too. It was blue.
I know what I saw. His coat was red.
You don't know anything. It was blue.
So, you think I'm stupid? I know what I saw. His coat was red.
Blue.
Red.
Blue.
Red.
B-O-U-E.
they began to beat each other and roll on the ground. Just then, the trickster returned and faced the two men, who were punching and kicking and shouting.
Our friendship is over.
The trickster walked directly in front of him, displaying his coat. He laughed loudly at the embarrassing fight. The two friends saw that his two-colored coat was divided down the middle. Blue on the left side and red on the right.
Do you see what I see?
Yes, true.
The two friends stopped fighting and screamed at the man in the two-colored coat.
How could you?
We've lived side by side like brothers our whole lives.
It's all your fault we're fighting.
You started the war between us.
Don't blame me for the battle. I did not make you fight. Both of you are wrong and both of you are right. Yes, what each one said was true. You are only fighting because you only looked at my coat from your own point of view.
Right.
This story was taken from Wisdom Tales from Around the World. They had their force. Maddie Hodgkins played man number 1, or Adam. Joshua Prakash played man number 2, or Noah. Jonathan Collins played the narrator. And Tom played the trickster.
Anansi Returns, a tale from Jamaica. It happened at one time when the most important animal was not Anansi. Nothing at all was named after him. In those days, it was Tiger who was thought the greatest animal.
This will never do. I won't stay a nobody, not me.
And so he went to Tiger and told him very politely,
I have a favor to ask you, mighty one. What would you ask? Many things are named after you because you are such a powerful beast.
"And what is that?"
Oh, I would like something very I would like something named after me too.
What is that?
Oh, I would like something very small, very important. I would like to have stories named after me.
Stories, how silly. How very weak and small and silly. Small and weak and silly as a spider. Very well. But before I come to this baby, you must bring me 2 things with your snake.
What are they?
First, you must bring me a gourd full of beans. Tiger was sure that Anansi would quake with fear at the thought of doing such a difficult thing, but Anansi only laughed.
Done.
And off went Anansi before Tiger could change his mind. He snatched up a hollow gourd, one with only one small opening, and went straight to where a swarm of bees lived.
Alas, alas.
Why are you moaning?
Well, I made a bet with Tiger. Now I think I'm going to lose it. I bet with Tiger that I could tell him how many bees this gourd could hold. But now I see I can't possibly know such a thing.
Andrew, raise the front.
I'm curious about it. Are you?
Yes, now we are very curious.
We could solve this problem. If you
Hennessy held up the gourd so that the bees could see the opening.
if you fly in, one by one, I can count how many of you will fit here.
So the bees flew in one by one until the gourd was full. Anansi quickly plugged up the hole and rushed back to Tiger.
Here you are. Here's your gourd full of bees.
Tiger roared with anger. How had Anansi done this task? How had such a small, weak, and silly spider done it?
Very well. You have brought me a gourd full of bees. But now you must give me the second deal. You must bring me snake, and you must bring it alive.
Tiger was sure that Anansi would quake with fear at the thought of doing such a difficult thing, but Anansi only laughed.
Done.
Anansi knew that snake
snake followed the same path every day. He went to the stream to drink. And so Anansi set a trap for Snake, a noose made out of a vine. In the center of the noose, Anansi placed a nice, ripe, tasty banana. So that, as soon as Snake slithered into the noose, Anansi planned to pull it tight. Sure enough, here came Snake slithering down the path. As soon as Snake saw the banana, he pounced on it. Anansi tried to pull the noose tight, but Snake was too strong. He broke the noose without even knowing it was there and slithered on his way.
That trap wasn't big. This one will be better.
So Anansi dug a hole at the bottom of it. He put a nice ripe avocado pear, then greased the sides of the pit. Once Snake slithered into the hole, he wouldn't be able to climb out again. But Snake wrapped his...
Welcome to part 2 of their colonial experience here today, to their young authors part. Boys, children do not have their stories into their journals yet. That's still a work in progress, which is great because they still have more experiences to come that they're going to be writing about. But they will show you these beautiful journals that they've created and show you their self-portraits too, along with sharing what they've written. So Maddie, we'll let you go ahead and get started.
Good day. My name is Clementina Ryan. I am the only female printer to print for Williamsburg. I am the public printer for the Virginia Gazette, which is the major newspaper in Williamsburg. I have 5 children: Charles, James, John, Maria, and William Jr. I am married to William Ryan, but sadly, he died last year. I died at age 34 in 1774. He slowly walked towards the wooden... This is my picture. He slowly walked towards the wooden frame of the door and into Clementina Ryan's printing press in Colonial Williamsburg, Virginia, 1774. A small, busy, noisy little store with different mechanical devices here and there, with men of every shape and size working over them. Some men were flattening pages, and others were punching in letters for the newspaper, Virginia Gazette. Open to all parties, but influenced by none was the motto of this printing press, and everyone tried to maintain that motto. He was very impressed by how well Miss Clementina Ryan was doing. What with being the only female printer in Virginia, a mother of 5, Charles, James, John, Maria, and William Jr., and for poor William to have to go to heaven so soon. The stranger tried to calm down, but he could not help but think about his life, about how his life would change once he had this conversation. Thomas Jefferson knew he was there for a reason. A middle-aged woman was sitting at a desk trying to explain to a poor apprentice boy that he was here to work, that he was there to work, not to dawdle. Clementina Ryan was quite an impressive woman indeed. Her face bore stern yet kind and understanding look about it. Finally, she looked up from the unfortunate boy and stared at Thomas Jefferson, shocked at his unexpected entrance. Mr. Jefferson, said Clementina, what are you doing in my printing press? The frightened apprentice ran off, noticing the tone in her voice. Thomas, however, was unexpected for her fury. Madam, he said confidently, I am here to ask of your humble assistance with the printing of my book, Ideas on American Freedom. Clementina just stared at him before saying, but sir, why me? For I am only a lowly female printer and patriot. Why, my dear, said Mr. Jefferson, I chose you in particular because you are the only patriotic printer, and you are a public printer to Virginia. Clementina thought about this for a moment, then said, Mr. Jefferson, I cannot print this book, because yes, I am a patriot, but I do not want to sacrifice my life and my children's. I could be killed for treason against the king, and then what would my little children do? Said Clementina. She tried to calm down. Sir, my final answer is no, Mr. Jefferson, I cannot. You understand, don't you, she said. Yes, madam, of course, said Thomas. He left with a heavy heart, and she watched him go, unsure if she had made the right choice. The next day, Clementina woke up in her beautiful house named after its creator, Leadwell Paradise. It was the only house in Williamsburg whose kitchen was built into the house and not a separate building. You see, in colonial times, people made kitchens a separate building because they had many kitchen fires, and they wanted to avoid the rest of the house going up in flames. So it was very modern to do so. Anyway, once Clementina woke up, she went downstairs to fix leftovers from the night before. At 10:30 in the morning, when all her children had left to go to school, Clementina walked to her printer store ready for a normal day. Outside her shop was an elderly gentleman, much older than Jefferson, just looking around as if in search of something or someone. Excuse me, sir, said Clementina. May I assist you in any way? The old man looked up at her and smiled. Why, my dear, you must be Clementina Ryan, are you not? Clementina nodded, a bit unsure why this man wanted to know her identity. My dear, he began, a good friend of mine told me he was wondering if you would be willing to print his book. It will be all about what America will be like once we are freed from England's clutches. So do you agree to his request? Why didn't your friend come here himself? Asked Clementina. The old gentleman thought it over carefully. My friend's a very shy lad. He's related to the Jeffersons, you know, he added. Right then and there, he knew that he should not have mentioned that last remark, because he knew that Clementina had already said no to Mr. Jefferson, and that she would not change her mind so easily. Clementina just stared at him with a very unhappy gleam in her eye. Although she knew that she must not be rude to her elder, she also knew that Thomas Jefferson could not just send a single one of his friends as messengers, then ask a favor from her, and expect that she was going to agree so easily. Tell Mr. Jefferson that I must say no to his second request for the sake of my children. You understand, don't you? Yes, miss, of course, he said sadly, knowing that Thomas would be angered at Clementina's sudden response. The next week, Thomas sent more and more of his friends to Clementina's printing press, telling her the same thing as the first gentleman. This went on for days at a time, until Clementina realized that she was running away from fear. She now knew that General Washington was going to lead the colonies to freedom, and that she would want to help as much as she could. So the next day, she walked along the dusty dirt road to his mansion on Nicholson Street. She walked up to his large porch and knocked on his big brass knocker hung on the door. A young housemaid opened it. Good day, said Clementina. Is Mr. Jefferson in? The girl nodded and led her to his study. A small room with a small stool next to it sat a small ornate desk, which was covered with scraps of parchment and ink blotches. On the stool sat a man who looked very angry and devastated. Do you know how much I have tried to convince you that I am correct, said Mr. Jefferson. Yes, I do, said Clementina, and I have changed my mind, and I have decided that I was wrong and you are right. So please do forgive me for my selfish behavior, Mr. Jefferson. Do we have a deal? The book was published, and no children were hurt in the making of it. Thomas Jefferson was known as a hero and a big help to the colonies. And Clementina got a slice of the fame, but she was content with the way things were, which was just as they should be.
You all did such a wonderful job.
Yay!
Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask of any of our authors this morning? They certainly had varied lives and varied experiences.
How many pages were in that book that you published for Mr. Jefferson?
There were 6 pages.
6?
Well, my story was 6 pages, but for Mr. Jefferson,
The book. Didn't you publish a book?
Yeah, I published his book, but I think I printed
Was it a big book or a little book?
this big book.
Okay.
I have a question. How did you go about choosing the person that you were going to write about and research about?
We didn't really get to choose.
Actually, she just handed us
Mrs. Haddock, she just handed us a folder with information on it about our character, and basically then we had to research it.
Cool.
Kind of like the English.
Yeah, and people volunteered to be slaves and storytellers and stuff like that.
because she couldn't make people slaves because a lot of them wouldn't like that.
So you'd like to volunteer to be slaves?
Yes.
Who volunteered to be slaves?
I didn't.
Kind of, yeah.
Where did you find all the information on the characters?
Actually, she gave us a, Miss Haddock gave us a folder that had a page or like 2 or 4 or whatever that had information on it.
About our character.
About our Williamsburg website. And if you looked up everywhere and you didn't get much information, you could make up some of the parts.
Like if you're a slave, it's easier. You can make up any type of story that you want, really.
Yeah, and for me, I had to make up a few things.
Yeah, the higher class doesn't
really have an interesting story until I achieved.
Gordon, that was an amazing story. You could actually publish that.
It was a great story.
Well, you all just did a fantastic.
Yay! Great.
Line, please. Right in the middle, please. Thank you. Sorry up. Face flags. King A. Face front. King A. Chumbi. Right leg back fighting stance. Kia.
Yeah!
Advanced punching number 1. Go.
Yeah!
Switch feet. Go.
Yeah!
Switch feet. Number 2. Go.
Yeah!
Very good. Switch legs.
Sir.
Go.
Yeah!
Switch. Number 3.
Yeah!
Good. Switch. Go.
Yeah!
Switch. Body stance. Advanced kicking number 1. Go.
Yeah!
Nice job. Go.
Yeah!
Zero to up. Number 2.
Yeah!
Good. Go.
Yeah!
Good. Number 3.
Yeah!
Don't look at me. Look that way. You're going that way now. Go.
Yeah!
Zero to up. Good job. Footsteps. Back elbow chunging.
Back elbow chunging.
Back elbow chunging.
Back elbow chunging.
Back elbow bujin.
Back elbow moving.
Back elbow bujin.
Back elbow moving.
Very good, Nicholas. Jumping front kick. Go.
Yeah!
2.
Yeah!
Switch feet.
Sir.
1.
Yeah!
2.
Yeah!
Switch. Jumping roundhouse. 1.
Yeah!
2.
Yeah!
Switch. Go.
Yeah!
2.
Yeah!
Switch. Jumping side kick.
Yeah!
Good job. Go.
Yeah!
Zero to the. Go.
Yeah!
2.
Yeah!
Zero to the.
Sir.
Spin back side kick.
Yeah!
Good job. Go.
Yeah!
Nice job. Way to lock it up. Switch feet.
Sir.
1.
Yeah!
Good. A little higher, please. 2.
Yeah!
Switch.
Sir.
Go to the back. Combination techniques across the mat. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Go.
Yeah!
Don't pass that line, man. I don't want you running into the wall. Okay? Mostly I don't want to clean the mirror after you guys touch the mirror, but secondly, I don't want you guys running into the wall. Huh? I know, so I don't want you accidentally put your hands on there and I have to clean it. Get it? Yeah, you see that? You see what I'm talking about? Yeah, someone else passed the line and put their hands on there, so I got to clean the mirror. Understand? You think I like cleaning the mirror? Okay, that's why you don't go past the blue line anymore, okay? Good, go back in the middle. Right there. Julie. Right, name your form. Tell me the name of your form. Okay.
Take John, sir.
Begin. Uh-oh. Huh? You don't know? You don't know if that was good or not? Huh?
I don't know if that was good.
You don't know if it was good or not? No? You think it's good to stop in the middle and stare at me?
No.
So was it good? Huh? Yeah? Not so much, dude. Keep practicing it though, okay? Alright. Julie. Choke defense number 1. Go.
Kia, Kia.
Good, don't have to re-grab. Just pull all the way at once. Go. Grab and pull. Not there. Where you did the first one. There. Pull. Go.
Kia,
Good. Number 2.
Kia.
Good job. Alright, right over here. Okay, you gotta do a step behind side kick for your break, okay? Alright, you wanna use this foot or the other foot? Okay, face that way. Let me see your step behind side kick. Go.
Kia,
Good. Back up a little again. Go.
Kia.
Good job.
Permission to break the mats, the boards.
Yes, chariot. King A. Fighting stance again, facing that way.
Kia.
Try to use your heel, not the whole flat part. Loud key, look at the board, focus, kick through it.
Kia.
Almost, right in the center, man, let's go.
Kia.
Center, you hit down here that time, you gotta hit right in the center. All the way through.
Yay!
Chariot. King A. doing, man? Hurry up. Face flags. King A. Face front. King A. Taekwondo. Good job. The belt will be here on Friday. So next, I don't want that. That's yours. So when you come back from your race, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll have your belt for you. Here, okay?
Yay, good job, honey.
I'll make a copy of this for you so you can take it home. Okay?
Okay, Nicholas, sit by Grandma.
The birch bark house. I just want to bring my deed.
Okay, but read the story to Grandma. Hold on.
Grandma Louise, I like when we play on the Wii together.
Okay, show me your picture. Hold it up so I can see what you drew, baby. And this was for Grandparents' Day. And tell me what's the picture. Tell me who's in it.
Super Smash Brothers.
Okay, which one's which? Who's in the red shirt?
Mario.
Uh-huh. And who's in the green shirt?
Luigi.
Luigi. And there's Nicholas's printing. Yay, where's Sophia? There she is. Happy Grandparents' Day, Grandma.
Mama.
Yes, honey.
Mama, there's two more guys.
Oh, tell me. Show me.
There's Pikachu.
Oh, there's Pikachu. He's cute.
And this is Bowser.
Bowser?
Bowser.
Bowser. And who's the white guy?
White?
Yeah, who's that?
There?
No, right there. Right there.
That guy?
Uh-huh.
He's Mario.
Oh, that's Well, excuse me. Very nicely done, sweetheart.
Mama, I'll show you who's Grandma.
Okay, where's Grandma?
Grandma.
That's Grandma.
And this is me.
Aww.
And this is the Wii thing.
Is that the remote control?
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice, honey.
Even I like myself. I made myself in my pajamas.
In your green pajamas. Give Grandma a kissy. You guys give her a hug. Sophia, give Grandma a huggy. Love you guys.
Love you both.
Yay.
Thank you for having Grandparents' Day.
Wait. This is Sophia wanting her dog. Yes.
Dog. Ask me anything and I'll tell you how it reminds me of a doggy.
Show me. I don't have a limited amount of tape. Show me your book. Here. Chloe, my future dog. Woof woof.
Name me anything and it'll remind me of a doggy.
A bone.
Something hard,
A shoe.
Mommy. A doggy eating the shoe. Something else.
I don't know.
Name something else.
Are we getting a dog?
Yes. Now name something else.
Pillow.
My dog is gonna sleep on a pillow.
Okay. Say goodbye.
No.
Why does it say?
Read this. This
has worked at
so what is it? How does that work?
Everything.
Everything
And elementary goes right.
At Campbell for 9 years.
Oh, I never knew that.
Carlisle. She told me that when I saw her at Campbell for 4 years. This is Carlisle.
Daddy, they're long.
You wrote it.
White has fur. You have actually
Teaches.
That's all. No. Teaches.
Spell white.
That means teaches.
Helton, sound it out, baby. Sir.
Third grade.
Good, honey.
I love this one. Mr. White
likes pizza with mustard, mushrooms, and pasta. Okay, let's pineapple. I said pasta. This is little machine. Pizza. Pizza. Ooh.
She loves
hot dogs. Allison, Miss Alyssa, and that's Melissa, likes, and that's the back of the gate because it's where it's closed.
That's a really cool picture.
This is Mac, again, and
lighting.
Yeah.
Peaches.
Let him get the concepts. Let him sound it out.
Cheese.
Okay.
Pizza. Good. Oh, I love
Miss Downey.
It's kind of Artiolo. Miss
Charles.
Savage. Cal.
Okay.
Allison. And Miss Chelsea.
Mr. Woods.
Chelsea.
Borelli. Coach Borelli. Coach.
King.
Kaplan.
Can I read these to you? My teachers.
How you doing? Somebody was athletic. Drew is.
Ice cream.
Good, honey.
There's 100 of ice creams. Oh, Mrs. Danny and Miss Carnival. Miss
You have to be 18 to drive, right?
Peachy. Savage. Mrs.
Third grade teacher. White. Machine room operator. Mrs.
Mr. Whiting.
We're not yet.
You're still
Athletic trainer.
That's what I did. Brownie, Beth, Coach, King,
Administrative assistant.
and Chaplain Hall.
Good, honey.
Janet Buell,
These
Kelsey
are-
Berglund. 13-year senior students.
And that's Judith, and that's
Kelsey.
You can't see
Alyssa
that. That's Drew.
Gare.
Lily has her.
Assistant plant manager. Cool. All right, let's switch.
Kim.
Dylan, come over here.
Dylan, move.
And who do I know?
Go find some other parents.
CPR.
And maybe go home with them.
That'd be good.
That would be great.
Who's that? Who's that? This is Whiting. Want me to read these? What's her job?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the top one?
Student chaplain. Who's that? Miss Carlisle. Miss Whiting. Mr. Whiting.
This is Mr. White.
I don't like my
You don't have to.
I don't know. Savage.
What do we want to know about Campbell Hall?
I don't like
You want to do this part? Okay.
Miss Teacher Librarian. That was Mrs. Best. Mrs. Savage, Science Teacher. Jack. Miss Janet. Teacher. And Miss Best. And delivers mail. Chelsea.
Who's that?
Mr. R.
That's all.
Can I see the beginning page? I missed it, baby. Show me the beginning page real quick. Let me see the cover. I didn't get it recorded. Let me see. Is that you? That's my boy.
That's King. This is God.
That's God?
This is me standing on Avalon.
Wait, let me see. That's
This is me standing on Avalon.
okay. And who's this over here?
And these are my teachers.
Okay. Let me see the first page. I missed it. Okay. Now turn it. What we know about Campbell Hall.
We have a playground. No, he said he didn't have to. No, stop. I didn't have to. We have a playground. We have to
Okay. Turn the next page.
have to read it. You didn't have to read it. Hey, Nicholas, how many students are in our school?
Mr.
I don't know.
Baby.
See your guy. No.
You're so cute.
Technical difficulties.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
How are you?
You bring the mail, you find us books, you put out fires, you catch the crooks, friendly neighborhood helpers, we thank you. We thank you. You checked our teeth since we were tots. You fixed the drain, you gave us shots of friendly neighborhood helpers, we thank you. We thank you. Here's a show starring you. Folks will know all that you do. Here's a show starring you. Folks will know all that you do. You bring the mail, you find us books, you put out fires, you catch the crooks. Friendly neighborhood helpers, we thank you. We thank you. You checked our teeth since we were tots. You fixed the drain, you give a shot. Our friendly neighborhood helpers, we thank you. We thank you. Friendly neighborhood helpers, we thank you.
You all know that we've been doing a lot of cooking this year. This is
Oh, we roast, yeah, we baste, ooh, we toast, ah, we taste. Oh, we boil, yeah, we fry, ooh, we broil, we love to try. We are chefs, 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 ooh la la, we are chefs, 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 ooh la la, we get to eat whatever is left, 'cause we are chefs, 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 chefs. Oh, we stew, yeah, we bake, ooh, we brew, ah, we taste. Oh, not quite, yeah, too sweet, ooh, just right. Come on, let's eat. We are chefs, chefs, chefs. Ooh la la la, we are chefs, chefs, chefs. Ooh la la la, we get to eat whatever is left, 'cause we are chefs, 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 chefs. We are chefs, chefs, chefs. Ooh la la la, we are chefs, chefs, chefs. Ooh la la la, we get to eat whatever is left, 'cause we are chefs, 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 chefs.
now you'll be singing that song all day. Before we go out for snacks. We have young author certificates and a special bookmark and a special pencil that says, I'm a Campbell Hall Young Author for your first Young Authors Day. So I'll call up, let's see, I'll do 5 kids at a time, and you guys can come stand over here and hold your certificates. So put your homework down. So Ella, come up here. Nathan, come up.